Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discussing with you regarding geoinformatics in disaster management. As this topic suggests, the entire topic is composed of two different subject matters: geoinformatics and disaster management. With the growing concern about the environment and its management, the topic of disaster management is increasingly coming into the limelight. With the advancement of science and technology, different applications of technology is being increasingly used in disaster management. Geoinformatics is one of them. Keeping that in the backdrop, my today's presentation has 6 different segments composed of concept and stages of disaster management, role and application of geoinformatics, Sendai framework, and challenges ahead. At first, I am coming to the concept of geoinformatics. Geoinformatics is basically a technology-driven concept that includes remote sensing, geographic information system, global navigation satellite system, and information and communication technology. In terms of disaster management, all these things together have an important role in prediction, monitoring, assessment, and management of disasters. But unfortunately, their roles are not being optimally utilized yet by the decision makers. Next, it is the concept of disaster management, which is a comprehensive process that deals with minimizing the negative impact of disaster upon the human society. And for that purpose, there remains 3 interlinked phases. First one, pre-disaster phase, composed of preparedness, mitigation and prevention. Second one is during disaster phase, composed of minimizing life and resource loss. Third one is post-disaster phase, composed of rescue, relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. As we consider the role of geoinformatics in disaster management, it basically plays the role of information synthesis that includes remote sensing, GIS, GNSS, ICT, geostatistics, and cartography. As we move on to the applications of geoinformatics, it mainly helps in information acquisition, processing, visualization, and dissemination. As the diagram shows in the bottom, the information acquisition part is mostly dealt by remote sensing technologies and its satellites associated with it. Thereafter, the information processing and visualization part has been performed by the GIS softwares and remote sensing softwares. Thereafter, the information dissemination has been done with the help of ICT infrastructure. Moving directly to the sector-wise application and utilities of geoinformatics, at first comes the early warning system that helps in identifying the upcoming disasters, their paths, their nature of behavior. Like in case of cyclone monitoring, different kinds of satellites, remote sensing satellite especially, like Landsat series satellites, IRS series satellite, beside NOAA Spot, these satellites also plays an important role in cyclone path identification. Sea level rise monitoring can also be done with the help of the satellites. Early warning system for flood can also be performed with the help of satellite remote sensing. Next, mapping disasters and zonations. Preparation of map is very much useful for visualization of any kind of disasters and identifying which region is much more susceptible to any disaster. Here, 3 examples have been shown, like the flood zonation map of India, earthquake zonation map of India, and landslide susceptibility map of Lachung Basin, North Sikkim. At the same time, with the help of technology developed by NASA, we can also have the advantage of monitoring live fire incidents throughout the world. Next, vulnerability assessment. In case of assessing the vulnerability, remote sensing and GIS technologies also plays an important role. As shown in the example like forest fire risk mapping of Uttarakhand, tsunami threat zonation of entire world, multi-hazard mapping of the entire world. Similarly, in the next step, it comes the multi-hazard mapping. Multi-hazard mapping is very much important because it helps to identify the zones with having maximum hazard potentialities or threats of hazards. Like in the left side map, the multi-hazard maps of India has been prepared. The second one, disaster vulnerability map of the different districts of India has been prepared. And in the third one, the multi-hazard map of USA has been prepared in a geoinformatics environment. Next comes the damage assessment. With the help of radar technology, LiDAR technology, and other remote sensing technology, we can easily detect the damage caused due to any kind of natural disaster. Like here shown, the impact of storm on forest. Next, it is the impact of Kedarnath flash flood, how the settlement and the other areas surrounding Kedarnath temple has been demolished by the flash flood of June 16, 2013. And next, the impact of flash flood in rainy district of Uttarakhand in 2021. How the map shows how the roads were demolished, how the entire landscape was transformed by the flash flood. Next comes the impact assessment and disaster modeling. Disaster modeling is very much important to know the disaster susceptibility of any area. For that, different layers of information are required, like it has been shown in case of Panchkora River Basin of Pakistan, where the disaster modeling has been done with the different layers of information comprised of slope, aspect, elevation, NDVI, curvature, soil wetness, rainfall, etc. Similarly, flood affected districts of Assam has been mapped in a GIS environment. Given the sector-wise application, next I am coming to the geoinformatics application in Sendai framework. How far the geoinformatics is being utilized to meet the targets of Sendai framework. Sendai framework of 2015 is so far the most important framework for disaster risk reduction. It deals with 4 targets that deals with reduction of mortality, number of affected people, economic loss, and critical infrastructure, and 3 issues relating to the increasing disaster risk mitigation efforts, cooperation and support, and increasing accessibility. And if you look carefully at the slide, you can find that in each and every target, there is an important role of geoinformatics and its associated components to achieve the targets of Sendai framework. Given that, we have still some challenges which we have to overcome in the coming years. Like we have to establish a strong network of vertical and horizontal cooperation. At the same time, we require adequately technically skilled person. Cost of technology should be minimized. There must be enough capacity building initiatives. Lack of e-readiness should be addressed properly, and we should throw away the traditional beliefs and adapt the blessings of science and technology to deal with the disasters and minimize the risk arising out of it. With that hope, I am ending my today's presentation. Thank you. Thank you again for your patience hearing.